Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Lead Podcast, where our intention is to support the development of future hospitality industry leaders. We want to change the flow a little bit for this episode and just have a different conversation. One thing that's come up a lot frequently for the three of us is this topic around path to leadership and what happens as you grow in your leadership journey. And also where some of us has landed, I think all three of us have a bit around this concept of leadership can be lonely. And how do we prepare for that before it happens and start to create a support system if and where that's possible around us. But before we jump in, Amy, it's great to see you.
You too, Matt, and love having Geoff Alexander here. He is an icon in the industry, role model for many, and also the best spin instructor that we've ever seen. He has been a great support for Lead and driving a lot of donations into what we're doing. So we have our Sizzle and Spin annually. We're trying to get the cruise ship down the Chicago River this year, the cycling going, but thank you for being here, Geoff. Geoff is the president and CEO of Wow Bao. He also runs Fast Casual Industry Council, many things, and just recently won a Silver Plate Award. So thanks for being here, Geoff. Super excited to have you on, and a very tough yet needs to be discussed topic.
I'm excited. I'm very excited to participate in this because I think this topic needs to be shared more often.
Agree.
So I think just start and we kind of discussed this topic before we recorded the episode. But Geoff, just tell the audience a little bit about why this is so important to you. You're very passionate about the topic. Give it a little bit of context.
Yeah. So thank you, Matt. So for everyone who's listening to this, my understanding of Lead is really about creating a space and a network to help young leaders or the future leaders grow within the industry and to become better in development. And what I mentioned to Amy and Matt when they asked if I could be part of this podcast, I said, I think it's really important that we help the new generation, the younger people who are coming up, understand that as you grow in the industry, as you move up the rungs of the ladder, there's an old saying that it's lonely at the top. And I think it's important that it doesn't get missed for people to understand really what that means. I just came back from the Prosper Forum, which is a C-level conference in Amelia Island, Florida. And there was a number of very high level publicly traded company CEOs. And there was a general, understanding amongst a group about, because they were all new in their roles, about how they were dealing with the new role of a publicly traded company and how when you become a CEO, it's not like, oh, you're promoted, here's the playbook, right? When you're an area manager and you become a regional vice president, you're a GM and you go into multi-unit, whatever it may be, you still have people in front of you who are telling you what to do, giving you the job, what to do, giving you work, and are there every day for you to bounce ideas off because they're your boss. When you're at the top of the echelon and you are the boss, you don't have that anymore. You answer to somebody, because we all do, right? You answer to your board, but your board, some board members might be there to help you answer a question or answer the question for you, but most are there expecting you to provide results. And your team beneath you is looking at you for help in their personal lives, their professional lives. They want you to be empathetic. And you're sitting there as a leader and you don't have that group around you now to listen to your problems, to listen to your struggles. And it was very humbling to be at this conference and listen to these leaders of incredible companies feel lonely and to share that loneliness. And at the conference, they have what's called accelerators, which are people can get nominated who are younger in the organization to come and be part of it. And I thought it was so valuable that these incredible titans of industry were sharing their vulnerability about what it's like to be in this role with this younger generation. And I thought it was just very important for us to take a time out from your normal instructions here and just prepare you and help guide you in ways to be successful, and how I personally have both A, struggled with it, but B, also found my way.
Do you mind sharing a little bit about that, a little bit of your personal journey and how you've struggled but also found your way? And I know we've talked about networking and finding a mentor, but what kind of tactics would you give and advice would you give to the emerging leaders listening in?
So I have been successful for 4 reasons in the growth, and 4 is a lot, and you're not going to get 4, right? But I've been, or you're not going to get 4 immediately. You might get 4 over time.
Mm-hmm.
The first of the 4 is I have an incredible wife. My wife, Lori, is an incredible partner. She worked very hard in corporate So she knows stress, she knows work and hours needed, and has just been incredibly supportive. Uh, she's open to hearing my day. Unfortunately, she wants to try to tell me how to fix it, and she doesn't understand all the dynamics. Because when you share with someone, you're like, "Here's what I did today," but there's layers, right? So I don't go into the layers with her, so I can't always take her advice. But to have someone to come home to who will just listen to you is very important. So that's number one. Number two is I've had a therapist for 25 years. Every Thursday for 25 years, I've had the same person I talk to. And that person started as a personal therapist. They grew into a business coach, and then they grew into a life coach. And his name is David. And the relationship I have with David has become now more of like a steam valve, where once a week I can just open the steam valve and vomit up whatever I want and just get it out of my system. And then I can close the steam valve and go to work. And then a week later, open it up again. And it's interesting because I've developed so well that there are times now where I'll get on the phone with him and say, I don't have anything to talk about. Everything's okay.
Yeah.
Right. And that's unbelievable that I can now deal with whatever the situations are. But again, there are certain things when you are paying someone to listen to you talk about, you have to embrace the honesty that you must give to that, right? You can't go to a therapist and not be honest. That does not work.
Yeah.
My third is I've had the ability, the lucky, the fortunate. I've had 4 or 5 great mentors in my career, and I have 3 right now. One is actually the chairman of my board, so it's ironic when I say, your board wants you to succeed, but John Shulkin of Valor has been an incredible teacher to me in business. But I've had 3 great mentors where I can go to each of them separately about a different aspect, right? Rich Melman, the founder of Lettuce, I can go to him with ideas about business. And Kevin Brown, who's the chairman of Lettuce, the former CEO, I can go to him about, people, right? And to have access to people who are bigger than you has been a big help. And then my last is I've developed a network of about 5 or 6 other CEOs within the restaurant industry. Over the years, it has taken time, and we have created a core group. And if you ever see me at a conference, you will see the 5 or 6 of us, like we are always together. And it's partly a safety net. It's partly because we understand each other. It's partly because we know that we have this honest relationship. And when you find other people who are similar to you, you can share because you're in a safe place. You're not being judged. They're not going to use the information against you. They want to see you succeed, and you have to give back to those people as much as you are taking from them. And that's what builds that trust.
I think it takes a lot of relationship building and time to do that. And I was sitting across the table not that long ago and I asked everybody around the table who their mentor was. Do they have somebody they're connecting with? And a lot of them, almost all of them said no. And I was a little bit shocked because I'm very much, I need the mentor for your mental state when you're having a bad day or something's blowing up and you're talking to people that are not going to judge you and help you and get you to where you need to be mentally. I think that's really important. And so if we go back a little bit to what you brought up about having that mental safety net, and that it is lonely at the top, and that the higher you go, you don't get a lot of positive affirmations. You're getting more. You need to fix the business. These are the things you need to do, right? And you're living in that headspace, and you have to get up every day, and you have to tell yourself that you've got this, and you're doing a great job. When sometimes you're being told you're not, right? And so how do you manage that mental state, Geoff? Because you've grown Wow Bao, you've done different leadership roles, you're involved in other things. But if you look at your younger Geoff Alexander self, what did that look like? And like what did you have to do to actually kind of build your mental safety along with a therapist and having Lori and the great wife? But a lot of these emerging leaders, they don't realize that the connections in the business that have like minds are so important.
Yeah, look, it's a great question. I think what's important, you said something that I just want to back up to. You ask a lot of people about their mentors and they say they don't have mentors. I'm going to challenge that response when someone says it to you. I think everybody has a mentor. Either you haven't recognized who your mentor is, or you don't understand what mentorship is, right? But
I like that. Yeah.
mentorship takes on a lot of forms. I look at mentorship for me is a teacher who wants me to be successful, right? Like we all went to high school and we all had teachers. Some teachers wanted to fail you, some teachers were just there to get a paycheck, but there were some teachers who went above and beyond, right? And gave you that extra time. And if you have, and by the way, a mentor doesn't need to be a boss. I think there have been times in my life where I've been mentored by people who are actually underneath me because they have qualities that I needed to develop, right? Like I've had employees who've struggled with different issues personally, not professionally, and they've come to me for help, and they help to teach me to be a better leader. Probably the best teacher for my leadership that I've ever had was my son, who's now turning 15, right? He struggled with his own issues when he was much younger, and it taught me patience. It taught me how to change the way I speak to people. It taught me how to be more supportive. It taught me about disappointment, right? And my son is fantastic. I mean, he's unreal right now, but we got to a point together. So when you ask these questions to people about who is your mentor, I think your mentor exists in your world. You just haven't identified the qualities of what either you need or what that person's offering to you and how to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
When you go back and ask about, the finding of the network, it takes time. And there's a quote from, this is going to show my age right here. I think the movie might be either Pretty in Pink or Some Kind of Wonderful. Might be Some Kind of Wonderful, which I doubt any of you know. James Spader and Leah Thompson. And the line in the movie is, trust is the basis of all relationships.
Yeah.
Trust is a two-way street. And Greg Creed, who's the former CEO of Yum Brands, was on stage this week, and he made this line, and I'm going to steal it. I'm giving him credit for it, but I'm going to 100% use it from now on. Trust is either 0 or trust is 100. There is no 72, right? You don't sort of trust somebody. You either trust them or you don't trust them.
Yeah.
And to gain trust in people, for you to trust people, you have to put yourself out there. And that is the hardest thing to do, right? To put yourself out there, because everyone fears rejection. Everyone fears they're not going to get the response that they want, right? So you don't have to just jump in and put yourself out there. Like, you don't do that. I remember the story, right? When I first met my wife, I wanted the date to be perfect. So I got there an hour early to get the right table at the place, and I ended up having 3 drinks before she got there. So probably a disaster of a first date from her side. And like within the first 10 minutes, we're talking, I'm telling her about who I am and what I do. And I excuse myself, I go to the bathroom, I call my best friend back in New York. I'm like, I met my future wife. He goes, don't tell her anything about yourself. I go, too late, I've told her everything. And he goes, it's going to be a disaster. Right. And I vomited everything up in the first 10 minutes, every personal item about myself. You can't go and do that. Nobody wants to hear all that, but you can pick and choose and find similarities, find common ground. And once you find a little bit of common ground, you can expand that into a question. And the thing about asking a question to a mentor is listen to the answer and digest the answer before you immediately think you know what the answer is going to be and come back. Because if you don't hear the answer from your mentor is not going to give you answers in the future. You don't have to take their advice. You can digest it and call me tomorrow and be like, hey, I thought about our conversation. I don't really understand this part, or I don't really agree with what you said, and make it into a dialogue. But if you ask me for my opinion and I immediately give it to you and you immediately start telling me why my opinion is wrong, like, I'm not going to give you my opinion again.
Yeah.
Right. So you have to start, a network starts with one person.
Mm-hmm.
Right. There's my age, there's an old AT&T commercial where it starts with you. And if you tell someone, there's 2 people on the screen, and then they tell someone, it goes to 4, and they tell someone, it goes to 8. And all of a sudden your screen is filled with like 70,000 people. You don't want a network of 70,000. You can have a professional network of 70,000. You want a core group of like 3 to 5 people who you're going to grow with, right? And you're going to learn from, and you're going to give back to. And if you don't have the time, to mentor someone, if you don't have the time to give of yourself, it's really hard to expect someone to give from you. I made a promise to myself like 8, 9, 10 years ago that if any student reaches out to me on LinkedIn, I accept the request. And if any student reaches out to me and say, can you give me 10 minutes of time? I will find the 10 minutes, right? Because it takes such bravery to put yourself out there, right? And it's been, as being the mentor, it has been so incredibly rewarding to help. And then as the mentee, when I've asked people for help, to see the generosity and the follow-up and the genuine care is rewarding on that side as well, and is inspiring to give more to other people.
Yeah, I love the conversation, and I get the opportunity to interview about 400 to 500 emerging leaders every year. And the one thing they ask for is time. And one thing to anybody in the audience right now, you were just provided time by two of the most influential leaders who had a pattern of feedback in their own way that showed vulnerability. And I feel success leaves clues. Like Geoff just shared a real story, and there's an opportunity for you to do a checklist. And as Amy said, we're not expecting you to have all four. Do we have a partner? Do we have a therapist? Do we have a coach? Do we have a peer group? And you might have one of those things. And even if you have none of those things currently, where do you want to take action now? What's that next best step for you? And when it comes to that trusted peer group, I remember my first mentor said, how many people in your inner circle? I said, count on your fingers. So I went like this, 7 fingers off. He said, chop one of your hands off. He said, I want you to go deeper with the 5 that you got. Who's the 5 people? He's being dramatic for effect, but he said, I just really want you to invest in those relationships, because once you do, they'll return value on both sides. So the next hit you want to go into is just thinking about, we shared this beautiful vulnerability story about what your path was. Now just go in a little bit of the instruction side. I'd like to hear from both of you. It's based on what you understand, what you see, what you experience on a daily basis. Let's talk direct to that emerging leader, not to an audience, but one. Like, if I could go back, here's what I would recommend you do, or based on your experience, what are the steps they can take action and build a better network around them, a better path.
Matt, before I answer that, I just want to go back to your thing about the 5 people. Right?
Yep.
When you meet young people, right, high school, college, post-college grad, and you say, how many friends do you have? Their number could be in the hundreds.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me how many friends I have. I probably say I have 3. Yeah. Now, I have a lot of friends, but like good friends, like people if I was in jail, I'm not going to call 200 people to come get me. There's 3 people, maybe 5 people.
Let's not go to jail, but yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there are.
Yeah.
If a tragedy
people
happened,
that are there no matter what.
If there's a tragedy that happened tomorrow, right? Yeah. You're not going to pick up the phone and call 100 people and let them know the tragedy happened. You might put it on Facebook, Instagram, and share it with the world, right? But before you do that, there's like 3 to 5 people that you're going to immediately call. That idea, that's your network. That's your personal network, right? So when this person said to you, take the one hand and chop it off, it's the same analogy. Like, you know who your core is. That's what you need to find in business. And I'm going to answer your question very short, because A, I want Amy to have time to talk, and B, I'm going to step up and get a glass of water. But when you ask how you do this, so in 2014, Wow Bao had 3 restaurants. But we were at the forefront of technology. We were at the forefront of some of the things we're doing. And I got invited to join a peer group. It was the Fast Casual Industry Council for the NRA. I actually wasn't even part of the NRA yet. And it was 12 CEOs in the fast casual space. And I walked into this room, and I don't think I spoke for the first 6 meetings. And that might have been over the course of 2 years. Like, I don't remember how many meetings we had a year. We might have 3 meetings a year. So I don't know if I ever spoke. I just sat there and soaked up the knowledge. And the one guy in the room who invited me to be part of it, I would sit next to him every meeting. I'd sort of pass notes to him. And after the meeting, I would spend time with him and regroup. And before the meeting, I would talk to him. And he became a very good friend of mine. And he also became a mentor in teaching me how to be in this meeting. And then I'd never been to a conference before. Right? I go to every conference now, but I would go to this conference. The reason why I didn't go to conferences, I didn't know anybody. I didn't want to sit in the corner, and I didn't know how to talk to people. And this person from that group would take me around at the conference, like, hi, I'm so-and-so, and this is Geoff, and push me in front of people. Now I chair that group for the Fast Casual Industry Council, and we have grown from 12 to 20 or 22 different CEOs. And everyone looks at me as like I'm the spoke of the wheel, right? The centerpiece that's connecting everyone and giving guidance for it. So you just have to find the one person that you're comfortable with that will take their time to help bring you the best you out of you. But now I'm going to give Amy a chance. So I'll be back in 8 seconds.
We've never had anybody get up from the chair before. This
We
is
can.
first.
It's perfect.
He's on break.
Hey, would you mind if I share before you jump in? Because I think, and I want to highlight you, I think you do one of the most remarkable, caring, intentional networking. And I don't think networking is the right word, but you approach this industry with so much passion that your reputation, the way people speak about you in the rooms you're not in is just, it's remarkable. It's something I've never seen before. But I feel that it's just didn't happen. Like
one of the things when you were asking about networking and building a relationship, first of all, I have to give some kudos to Geoff, because when I first started going to conferences, you do get anxiety because you are like, you feel like you're a little bit like you're not in, who are the people in the room that actually want to hang out and you learn from. And I remember just reading recently, you are the sum of the 5 people you hang out with the most.
Yep.
And so I was thinking, gosh, who do I surround myself with? Like, are they smart? Are they am I learning from them? I need to surround myself with people that are smarter than Geoff, Matt. Both of you are one of them, 2 of them. But the thing that I think is important is everyone has a lot going on, and everyone talks about mental health, and we are at a state where more Americans are now living alone than ever before. And people come out to restaurants to get a connection, which I talk to my staff about, like, what are you doing to really change their day? What are you doing to impact them, and get them to come back and feel like this can be kind of a second place of safe haven for their mental state. And so I think when it comes to the networking piece, for some people will say I don't have the time. Yeah. And this is my thing. If I call Geoff has never, ever not answered my call yet. He picks up. He's always helpful. He's always there. If I text him, he responds. And but it takes time to build those relationships. You have to put some time on your calendar, and you have to reach out, and you have to make space. It does not happen organically. This morning I called Melissa Doolin Cohn and I just said, hey, these are the things I'm thinking about. And then I'm texting Emily Williams Knight. And you just have to make space to connect, but also bring topics that are relevant and not just reach out. So when people ask me a lot to say, hey, will you mentor me? I get, a lot of young women on LinkedIn and things like that. Absolutely. I will always make time. But here's the thing. You have to come with a reason and a purpose. Come and tell me, like, what is it that you want to get out of this relationship or this conversation? And as emerging leaders, you can't just say, to Geoff's point, can you mentor me? No, it's not about the title of mentoring, to Geoff's point. I think that's a super big piece to take home. It's about, what are you learning from those you're reaching out to? What is your agenda? What is your purpose? And following up. And I will say, women have a different way of doing it. I think there's a lot more insecurity to do it. I have worked really hard on some of the relationships in the business because I see these people and I want to get to their level and or learn from them. And eventually you feel like you're adding just as much value as they're giving to you. And how do we teach young? I've been told before, people laugh when they say this, like it's not a cliche. I've literally been told, you cannot get promoted, you are a woman. And I said, I have to quit. I cannot work here. That is the craziest thing I've ever heard. And you just have to know who are your advocates, who's talking about you. You get promoted. I know I've talked about this before. You get promoted and you get an increase when you are not in the room. And I think it's really important to work with your mentors, work with your advocates, ask people what they say about you. And when you're having a moment and you're completely going downhill with your mental state or stress or anxiety, you have to reach out to your circle, but you have to take time to build it. And I think people just think it happens like that. And to Geoff's point, it's taken years. It's a lot of extra work and time, but you don't feel like it when you're doing it genuinely.
Let me just add on to that. I think two thoughts came up when you were speaking. The first is, you're already in the room, right? Like somehow or another, you're in the room. You got to some position, somebody promoted you to some kind of position, and now you are taking the courage. I'm talking to the lead people here, right? You are taking courage to learn more, right? You are taking a step. That takes incredible strength and courage. It also takes confidence. So embrace that confidence. You don't need to go into the next room or into the conference or whatever it may be and be like a wallflower. Like, have confidence. Now, have humility, right? Don't go in there and be like, I'm better than everybody. But you are powerful. There's something about you that has already created that space within you. So now go with that. The second thing that I wanted to say was, I take a lot of joy in mentoring younger women. That is a real bad soundbite. Okay, so don't cut that into something. But you know, I see the emerging leaders of ladies be more polite, be more timid at the table, because they exude this feeling off of them that they don't belong to be there and that they should be thankful for the opportunity. And all I want to say to them is, nobody else at this table is acting the way you're acting. No one else is thanking me X, Y, and Z. No one else is, sitting here being quiet. Like, you're at the table. You are sitting right next to me. Like, be confident. Be that. And I can't put myself in their position. I can't understand what's holding them back. But what I can say is, I have a 26-year-old daughter, and she found her voice. She found a way to be strong and be independent and be powerful, right? And I'd like to think that I had something to help her with, and it had something to do with it. And the problem is, if I only see you 3 times a year, there's 360 some odd days where I'm not there to help you in that moment.
Yeah.
You need to reach out to me and say, hey, tomorrow I'm going here. I'm having some anxiety. Or, hey, I did this yesterday and I didn't really feel good about how this went. What can I do differently the next time? Like, the mentee has to reach out. And you just said the same. You have to have a purpose for the call. Yeah. The mentee has to recognize, what do they need help with? And it could be the same issue for a year. It could be 365 different issues. There's no playbook for this, right? You need to recognize today. And by the way, we could work on something today, go work on 6 different things, and then come back to the same first issue again, because as you develop, that issue changes, right? It develops as well. The last thing I wanted to say is, you mentioned mental health a minute ago. I'm not here talking about mental health. I am not equipped to help you with mental health. I have resources I can help give you. This isn't about mental health. This is about that we are all feeling it. Whatever anxiety you're feeling now, every one of us has either felt it, or will feel it again as we move up the ladder. And the difference is recognizing that you're feeling it and being okay with that feeling, right? There's a conference coming up that I'm actually not going to it because there's a conflict with work. But I was going to go to it. It doesn't really fit what I do, and I'm not going to know anybody at it. I'll take this back. There's a conference I'm going to in the end of September that's in a totally different business than I've ever been in before. I know 0 people going to it. 0. Not a single person do I know is going to this conference. And I'm going to go. And I don't know what's going to happen. But I have incredible anxiety about it. Yeah. Matt, you're telling me I'm an icon, I'm a celebrity. I'm none of those things. I'm Geoff. I'm a scared kid who 11 years ago went to a conference and looked for someone to hold my hand and take me around. We all wrestle with this. Yeah. I'm dealing with things in business I've never dealt with before, and I have to look like I know the answer.
Sure.
Right? I mean, we're all dealing with these feelings. It's about, how do you process and feel okay that you are worried? And how do you find relief?
Yeah. And just when you look at the whole conversation's been great, but when you look at the summary, what I appreciate what you shared there, Geoff, is just real conversation that you have felt that way and the action that you have taken that we all can take. Claim your seat at the table. When you're a mentor, be prepared. It's not about the mentor showing up to show up for you. Be prepared. And this conversation, I love it. Like mental health talked about a lot. I like to talk about mental wellness. But I think one thing that we can leave everybody with, we've all felt anxiety. In many rooms right now, I am that person new at the conference. Amy's seen it, trying to find my way in new rooms. And I get anxiety, and often I get a chance to be on the stage and feel the same way. We're all going through this. It's just embrace it and keep moving forward.
And by the way, with that, if you have a mentor, if you've asked somebody to mentor you, or someone you just look to as a mentor, and you're not getting from them what you want, they're not a good mentor.
Yeah.
Like, go find another mentor. But again, playbook. No one teaches you to be a mentor, right? You go to school to be a teacher. And again, back to the analogy about high school. We all had a bunch of high school teachers. They all got the same degree. They all learned the same thing on how to teach. Yeah. But there were good teachers and bad teachers. There are good mentors and bad mentors, and there's good mentees and bad mentees. Yeah. Like, it just is. So if you're not getting from the person that you want to get from, it's okay to like move on from that person, and you can outgrow your mentor.
Yep.
That's the other thing.
Amy, what are your thoughts just as we look to the end of this conversation for today? But what a great one it's been.
I think it's a topic that if I'm an emerging leader listening in, there's a couple things to take away from, right? What does mentorship look like for you? What are you going to learn from that person? Are you coming to them with a purpose? Everyone feels anxiety, right? I mean, we all feel it. And so how do we start showing up kinder to one another? And if you see somebody, like Geoff said, at a conference and they're a fly against the wall, go up and bring them along. Somebody brought Geoff along. Many people brought myself along and continue to do so. So I think that all of that is important. And I think that the emerging leader level at this point is much different than when I grew up in the industry, or Geoff grew up in the industry, or Matt. They're much more aware, and they're much more in tune to their feelings and speaking about them. And I think continuing to have those conversations is important in all the communities in the restaurant industry.
And I just want to share really quick, because I've had the opportunity to sit about 12 months ago in this seat, and I reached out to some people and asked for mentorship. And one of them is actually in Geoff's network. And the biggest thing that they said to me was, you have the opportunity, but one of your weaknesses is asking for help, and there's strength in asking for help. And you can't see behind me, but right in front of this screen right here, there's a sign that says, be sure to ask for help. People want to support you. And that's a quote from that conversation. And it's something that I'm going to take from today and continue to do. And I hope that the leaders listening, take action on what's possible for them. Geoff, anything to close us out before we wrap this up for today?
I wish I could give you like that one sentence that like goes with it. But here's the one thing I'll say. Every great leader had a great mentor.
Yeah.
So if you see somebody, or there's somebody that you want to ask for help, the great leaders that are out there in the industry right now will gladly take a pause and talk to you.
Yeah.
At a conference. Now, look, you have to read the room, right? If they're surrounded by 20 people, you can be like, hey, can you come over here with me? Right. Or they're running to something. But I saw Greg Creed, right? The former CEO of Yum. And as I said, Rob Lynch of Shake Shack, and Scott Boatwright of Chipotle, and Kevin Hochman of Brinker. I saw these people who are running, they each have 100,000 employees. I mean, they're running incredible companies. And I saw them be pulled aside by younger people all weekend long. And they just gave everybody 5 minutes. Like, we recognize those of us who believe in mentorship, or those of us who have been mentored well, know what it takes to ask for help. Yeah. Right? People have come up to me and said, will you mentor me? I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Just so you know, I don't know what you need, and I don't know if I'm the skilled person for it. But I do know a lot of people, and if I'm not the right person, I know someone who might be willing to help you. So you gotta know, like, this is what I'm looking for. And, for those who do ask, will you mentor me? my response would be like, I don't know if I have everything you need, but you call me with help when you need help, and I'll see if I can help you. Like that's the best that you can do, is to give somebody the time and to be the ear.
Yeah.
And I encourage more people to ask for help. But the most important thing, to go back to when we start this conversation, is you have to find your group. You have to find your group, so you have that circle of trust that you hear about in, I don't know, Meet the Fockers, whatever the movie. I'm using all these references nobody knows.
Meet the Fockers.
Right? No one's heard of any of these movies. But you need to find your group, and your group will start with you plus one.
Yeah.
And then you will add a third, and then you'll add a fourth, and then maybe you have enough.
Yeah.
Love it. I want to thank you both for an incredible conversation, and we're going to share some resources with this episode as well. There's some links, so there's some information on Gleam, but we're gonna share some resources, and I'm here personally to support anybody who's curious about finding themselves a mentor. Reach out on LinkedIn. I have time, and I'm sure others will as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.